It's important to understand that CPL might not be the right choice for specific students depending on their situation. So the transferability is a big issue. If they're going to UC, they only are going to accept specific types of CPL. So it's very important when working with students that are UC bound or that want to go to a private or out-of-state school that you are taking a look at their institutional policies and seeing whether or not the CPL is accepted or not. There also may be academic requirements, for example, in terms of major prep. So if a course is in a certain sequence, it's also possible that you should be a little more careful with CPL in terms of a sequential type of course that needs to be validated. If a student is in a very competitive major, it is definitely advisable to get a letter grade because the pass, no pass could actually hurt their admission and not make them as competitive. So getting that pass, no pass grade through CPL may not be something that they should be doing in order to keep up as a competitive student. There may also be some financial implications. So if they're getting financial aid or if they have a basic housing allowance, this could be impacted by earning CPL. So that is something that you want to discuss with the student and make sure that this meets their needs. And the last would be we don't want to award CPL just for the sake of awarding CPL. We want to avoid excess units. This could, potentially create some problems in the future. So we should be awarding CPL because the student actually needs it. It's going to apply towards something, either a GE or major requirement or those minimum electives that they need for transfer.
This is a four-step framework that could provide a consistent approach for evaluating CPL while keeping the student's educational goal at the center of the conversation. Ideally, what we're doing is starting first with that student educational goal. What is the student's goal? Are they looking to earn a degree? Are they looking to earn a certificate? Are they planning to transfer? Next would be looking at the institution. Is the student considering transferring? Where are they considering transferring to? As Dr. Rodriguez mentioned, the CSUs and the UCs are going to allow for different types of CPL. So very important that that discussion takes place of where is the student looking to transfer to. Next would be the credit type, identifying the potential CPL type that the student would be eligible for. Do they have a military training? Do they have an industry certification? Because again, not all types are going to be accepted at a CSU or UC or private. And fourth, the transfer considerations, making sure that we're having conversations with students regarding transferability, the applicability, unit limits, how those units might apply or not apply to residency, any limitations with the pass, no pass, and major prep. Now we're going to talk about, I think one of the biggest misconceptions is when it comes to CPL is the transferability versus the applicability, right? These are two different questions. With transferability simply just asks, will this institution accept the CPL? It doesn't tell us necessarily how the credit is used, only that the receiving institution recognizes those units awarded by the California Community College. Now, when we're thinking of applicability, that's going to tell us exactly how the CPL can apply to the student's program. Does it fulfill GE? Does it satisfy major prep? Does it count as elective units only? This may have a deciding factor whether the student is going to accept the CPL or not. So if we look at GE versus major, generally speaking, if the CPL was going to count towards a major prep, that would have the greatest impact, right? The student is able to satisfy a requirement, eliminating a course they would potentially have to take otherwise. Next level would be the general education credit. So that also is very, very valuable to a student, right? It's going to count towards their completion, graduation, transfer requirements, but it may not move them through their major, but it absolutely is beneficial in helping them completing their educational goals. And finally, we have the elective credit. Elective credit also certainly has its own value, right? Depending on the student's educational plan, it may have the least impact, but in some cases, maybe that's all the student needs is that elective units just to meet the requirements for graduation or their degree requirements. When we're talking about the elective units or actually all of these, this is where we need to make sure that we're considering unit accumulation. As Christina mentioned, we don't want to put a student in a situation where they're accumulating excessive units that don't necessarily apply to their educational goals.